Oh wait, my mom's having trouble getting on. She's just not logged on. Wait, start the show. All right, everybody. Hey, this is DJ Kelly Reverb. What's going on? Welcome to This Pink Cloud, Season 2, Episode 25. Yay. And the crowd goes wild. Yeah, anyway, so sitting in with me today is my esteemed colleague in recovery, LPC, LCDC, and guest hostess with the mostest, Dusty Burrows.
Hey, hey.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Kelly.
Yeah. And then, of course, sitting across from me, this handsome young man, and a fellow DJ as well, and tattoo artist, and electrician, and recovery specialist, and a myriad of other things. It is the one and only Jared Moore. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, Kelly. Thanks for having me, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to get into your story because your story and my story are a little similar in that we DJ'd. And we DJ'd and were in the scene when the scene was good, dude. When the scene was in its prime. But anyway, real quick, I want to hit my sponsor, which is summersky.us, summersky.us, and their number is 888-857-8857. Once again, that is 888-857-8857. I have to say that because now we're a podcast, so this goes not only YouTube format, not only Facebook, but, you know, all Spotify, Apple Play, all that stuff, so you can subscribe anywhere. We're user-friendly.
That's amazing.
Like that. Yeah, right? And then what else do we have? Oh, yeah, the shirts, of course. I don't know if you have those pulled up, or you can, but we do have these shirts for the show available. There is the rainbow one. There is no magic pill for sobriety, which all the kids are liking. And then we also have the chair one, which I am wearing as well. I went to rehab, and all I got was my life back. And then the standard, this pink cloud. I like your zoom in work, too. Good job, Brett. Way to go, buddy. Way to go. And, yeah, Brett's our new board op guy. And if there's any thing that goes wrong with the show, blame him. Because he's the new guy, and we got to throw him under the bus, you know.
Scapegoat.
That's how we roll. Also, if you are not on YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I will actually have unique content to that soon, once I quit procrastinating or working or whatever. But if you go to thispinkcloud.com, that's going to take you to our YouTube channel, and please subscribe there. And I think I hit it all, right? Did that sound right? Did I miss anything? No? No? Yes? No? Okay. All right. Well, so Jared, let's see. How far back do we go, dude? Are we talking like, I mean, we'll go ahead. I mean, I'm 51. I'm okay. I'm proud of it. You know, I know you are a younger whippersnapper, and we're coming up in the scene as a young derelict. But you got to hang out in the 90s because you and I were talking Bad Boy Bill, DJ Dan, Donald Claude, you know, all the Godfathers.
Yeah, back when it was good, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess what I was getting to was your age is what?
39.
39. Are we gonna stay 39 for a while or no?
Yeah,
No?
Sense some apprehension.
Couple years.
Man, yeah, it's coming up way too quick.
No, I hear you, dude. It's, you know, hey man, it's for those day counters,
The
dude.
dirty 30s are coming to an end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But so let's start off. You know, I mean, obviously we're here to help people and to kind of educate people. As far as you know, what's where you went off the wheels, and then how you corrected. What went on, and then what's working for you current day. And I mean, we'll just kind of go with your story. So you're on.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me, Kelly. So, I'm not from Texas. I'm originally from California. Been out here for about 4 years. And
you've moved here now, like everyone else.
Right? Yeah. Everyone from California that's smart is moving out here because
Yeah, right.
California is sinking.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I mean, I first started, partying probably around like 14 or 15. I grew up. Was originally raised by my grandparents when I was about 5 years old, and then mom kind of came back into the picture, and she had this boyfriend who it was pretty obvious to me that wasn't my father. So that was kind of something that I struggled with early on and for a while. My mom and this man ended up getting married and having, 3 beautiful girls together. And, I always felt like there was this disconnect and I really never felt a part of,
So you have 3 half sisters?
I have 3 half sisters,
Okay.
yeah. I never viewed them as half sisters, you know what I mean? But, again, like I said, I never really felt a part of, right? I always felt like there was that disconnect.
Right.
But I was just doing the best that I can, I mean, what
you were obviously the older brother,
right?
And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, add this on.
Yeah. So, I guess I was kind of always, searching for something to make me feel okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I first smoked pot when I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And man, I was so scared to smoke it.
Right.
I thought like I was gonna end up having a heart attack and dying. And
right. Well, you kind of came up during the Dare era.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
all that,
Yeah.
yeah.
All that stuff was pushed on me, and I was like,
the Nancy Reagan agenda.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got you, which is not bad. Don't get me wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't listen though.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so I would say, so I first got introduced to some harder stuff when I was around 15.
Right.
So it didn't take me long to graduate. I think I used meth for the first time when I was about 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were talking before the show, kind of like my aha moment, where I felt like I had arrived was when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a buddy in high school. Me and him were I think we were in 9th grade. And we were like the cool kids because we were hanging out with all the seniors. We got invited to all like the backyard parties, which no freshmen were allowed there.
Right.
And so like the cool thing at the time was all these like juniors and seniors, like they were going to these rave parties.
Yeah.
And I was like we wanted to kind of check it out.
Sure.
And so like the first time I went, I was like, what is this? Like the music,
Right.
the music. I was like, dude, this is horrible music, and it was just weird.
This is one really long song.
Yeah,
Dude.
and I really wasn't feeling it. And someone's like, oh, well, you buy this pill and it's $20, and it's gonna make you feel amazing. I'm like, okay, so
then you'll get it.
yeah, right. And so guess what? My first pill that I ever bought,
Right.
it was bunk.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
But
Then in the true fashion, then you have to go that much harder the next
Oh, yeah.
time.
Well, I mean,
to make sure it works.
a smart person would have been like, oh, this is bullshit. Like,
Right.
you forget this, But I was like, I wanted to have like this experience, right?
Sure.
That I thought I could have. So, I think the next one I went to, I got one, but it wasn't like super strong. But I kind of felt something, and it was kind of like a little bit better.
Mhm.
But that third time,
Yeah.
right? That third time, man, it was incredible.
Yeah.
I never thought I could feel that good, if I'm honest.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah, and you're 16 and you're just feeling this, and like you said, you had arrived,
Yep.
dude. Like, I mean, yeah, that's a dangerous age to feel that you've arrived at.
Right. I mean, yeah, I started young, and then, of course, my priority shifted from, going to school and getting good grades to, what's the next rave party?
Sure.
What DJ's playing here? How are we going to get there and get enough money to make sure that I could, have enough for the whole night,
Sure.
And then where's the after party?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so, I really, that became like my life. I was basically, a raver, right? Me and all my friends were going every weekend, and just having the time of our life, and so that became, like my main interest, in school kind of, just wasn't important. And then, through the next couple of years, all I wanted to do was party. So, I ended up not graduating high school. Go figure that one out.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you were successful. You were having success in other areas.
Yeah. And so, after that, it was weird. There was a lot of pressure, I think, around, that age to kind of figure out, like, what I was going to do in life. Like, what was my purpose, or, like, how do I want to make money, or do I want to go to college? And,
Sure.
there was a lot of uncertainty. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, I didn't want to just pick something and just do it because somebody told me to do it. You know, like I wanted to be something that I was passionate about, and I didn't know what that was at that time. You know,
Right.
like I was just passionate about, you know, going to rave parties and having fun with my friends, and I just figured, you know, we'd do that until it wasn't fun anymore, and then I would figure it out.
Sure.
And like I said, you
Sounds
know,
like a plan to me.
right? Yeah, it's a great
I can
plan.
totally
Okay.
relate.
Yeah.
It's the execution that's the hard part,
Right.
right? So, you know, I continued going and partying into like, you know, like my early 20s, and then kind of, meth became a huge part of my life and was kind of like an everyday thing. Like that was always my go-to, right? No matter what I was doing, whether I was, you know, working or whatever, like that was always like my crutch, you know. And getting into my like early 20s, like I saw all my friends, they were getting married and going to college and buying houses and having babies, you
Doing
know.
grown-up shit.
Yeah,
Right,
and
yeah.
here I am still going to rave parties, you know,
Right.
I'm in my early 20s. So I don't know, man. I just didn't want the party to stop. You know, I was still really enjoying it. You
Right.
know, it was doing everything for me. I never had consequences, right? Like I never got busted.
Right.
You know, and I just wanted the party not to stop, you know?
Sure.
And so I would say, let's see. So the first kind of real thing that happened to kind of like spiral myself down that dark, you know, path was when I was 20. Let me see. 6.
Doing math, carried the 2.
Yeah, so I think so when I was 24 years old,
Right.
you know, I told you I grew up in a house full of women, right?
Mhm.
And you know, I always wanted a brother. And there was a guy that I had met, kind of in my neighborhood, and we, you know, hung out, and we ended up going to school together, and we would party together, and he was the closest thing that I had to a brother. His name was Frankie.
Okay.
And so one day
That's a good brother name. I like it.
So one day I get the call that he was dead.
Oh shit.
And you know, he was riding his motorcycle. I don't know what was going on, but anyways, he ended up crashing his bike, and boom, he's gone.
Uh-huh.
And man, I was devastated by that. You know,
I can imagine. Just like that guy you've looked for all your life, your homie, and then boom. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, were y'all good friends for a while?
Yeah,
And then,
yeah, for years. I mean, we were
Yeah.
really good friends.
Yeah.
You know, and the only thing that I could think to do was just, you know, wake up in the morning and kind of just drink myself to sleep.
Sure.
You know, and just like, it's not real, it's not happening. You know, and I wake up the next morning and I'm like, dude, did that really happen, or was that a bad dream?
Mhm.
And then when I realized that, he was dead, I would just drink myself to sleep.
Sure.
You know, and just into a blackout. And so I did that for about 30 days, and then I was like, you know, obviously this drinking thing is not gonna
Yeah.
bring him back. And
Uh-huh.
so that's when kind of like, you know, my drinking and all kinds of drugging, just like I said, just kind of escalated, right? And it was just like to oblivion, right? Like I was just trying to, you know, just go as hard as I could, right? Every day, no matter what. Like that was basically that was my purpose. That's what I was living for, right? Like
Right.
it wasn't about making money. It wasn't about setting goals and bettering myself or figuring out what I wanted to do in life. It was just about like numbing the pain.
Yeah.
And so that continued for about maybe another year and a half or so.
Jared, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because when you were sharing that, I went through an
Hey, Dusty,
experience
don't
like
lean
that
back.
myself. I lost 2 of my best friends in my teenage years, and so I kind of wanted to ask you, how do you think that changed your perception of the world, losing that friend?
Well, I mean,
Good question, Dusty. Good question.
obviously, you know, like I think we take for granted like how fragile like our bodies are, you know, and we get in cars all the time and we get from point A to point B and we think like, you know, I mean, yeah, there's a chance that, you know, I could
Oh,
die,
well, dude,
but-
especially at that age, I mean, I think we're all, well, at least I thought I was invincible.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks
Yeah.
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was maybe a wake up call of where like my life was headed, and you know, I don't know. I mean, it's just, you know, sometimes I guess it makes you appreciate your friends and family a lot more because like the truth is you know, you can have a conversation or see someone and that might be the last time you ever see them. You don't know
Right.
if that's going to happen or
Live
when
in the
that's gonna
moment,
happen.
baby.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
So, man, so about another year and a half of just like, you know, doing the, the yets, right? Doing the things that I told myself I would never do, right? So like the moral line in the sand that I draw for myself, right? Like,
Right.
I was a complete garbage can, and I would basically anything that you got, I
Right.
would
Well,
do it.
I would like to hear some of these moral lines in the sand and the yets.
Well, okay, so basically, I told myself, there's so many ways to get loaded or to get high, I'll never stick a needle in mine.
Yeah.
I was
There you
like,
go. That's a yet.
yeah, and so there's, you can smoke it, you can snort it, you can eat it, you can drink it, right? Like,
Right.
I'm better than those people,
Yeah. Sure.
right? And like I said, it's a yes, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
sure.
really believe that I would never get to that point,
Right.
and, one night, behind like a handful of Xanax,
Mhm.
next thing I know, it's already done. I'm
Right.
like, whoa, what the hell did I just do? You
Right.
know? And so, at that time, it was just, it wasn't working, right? Like, I wasn't enjoying it,
Right.
Like, everything in my life was just an absolute dumpster fire. Like,
Right.
it really was, right?
Sure.
Like, my relationship was just completely toxic and whatever. Like, I didn't have any money. Like, I didn't have any goals. I wasn't working. I wasn't trying to work. I was, basically leeching off my grandfather, living rent free. Like, I had literally no responsibility. I was selling drugs out of his house. He would just give me money whenever I asked for it, and he would ask like the bare minimum, can you go mow the lawn? Can you
Right,
take out the
yeah.
trash? And I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gramps, I'll
Okay.
get to it later. Just incredibly selfish,
Yeah,
incredibly
sure.
sick.
Yeah.
And so, I had a friend that I used to, run and gun with and party with, years back. And he just kind of shows up at my door one day, and, I was high as a kite, and he's like, hey, man, how you doing? Just want to check on you, make sure, you're doing okay. I want to let you know, I love you and I care about you, and if you ever need help, I've got 2 years sober, and life is really great. And I'm just like, I kind of look at him, and I'm
Yeah. Like, what's your angle?
I'm
dude?
like, yeah, dude. I'm like, you love me. Okay, cool, bro. Like,
Yeah.
bounce so I can go back to like hitting this pipe.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
That's where my head
Sure.
was at.
And how old is this that your
Uh,
friend approached you? How old were you? Around 25, 26?
Yeah, I was about 25.
Okay.
I was about 25, and
And you were actively using, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
trauma had just happened with your friend
right. Well,
passing away, Frankie.
this is about a year and a half after that.
Okay.
So yeah, and I was just like I said,
A
I was-
year and a half of dumpster fire.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah, and it was bad. And so I was just like, cool, dude. I
Right.
appreciate the offer, but like,
I got this on lock.
yeah,
dude. I'm
kick
doing
rocks,
good.
dude. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm winning, right? So he came by like a month or two later or something.
Uh-huh.
Said the same thing, right? And like, I think I was doing like a little bit worse,
Sure.
and like my mind started to go to, well, maybe I do need some help.
Right.
And the crazy thing, let me backtrack real quick. So, the last time I saw Frankie before he died, okay, I had basically fronted a bunch of drugs from him, right, in hopes that I would be able to sell some and then give him his money and basically get some for free or whatever. Well, that didn't happen because I basically smoked half the bag, and I started getting scared that I wasn't going to be able to pay him. And Frankie was not a guy that you wanted to mess with. I mean, he walks in a room and people they're like, fear right away.
Right.
But so, anyways, when I met him.
You're doing your moral inventory.
Yeah.
Right. or shit. Man, do I owe that guy money? Like,
So when I went to meet him and give him back, what I'd smoked half of with none of his money, he looked at me. He's like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
oh, this is Frankie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And man, I just broke down and started crying, man. And I was like, I don't know, man. I got a problem, and I was just in tears. And this is the first time that I ever admitted that I had a problem
Right.
to anybody.
Wow.
Right? Like, I thought I was in control. I thought I was, I never was willing to admit that I had a problem, and that was the last time that I saw him.
Yeah.
And so the second time that my buddy came to check up on me, I was open to taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't like, okay, I want to get sober and all this, whatever.
You wanted to at least hear the pitch.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's my thought process behind it, right? Like, I hadn't been enjoying it for a while, right? Everything around me was fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
My tolerance was really high, right? It went from, I had to basically do a 20 just to get out of bed,
Right.
right? So like, clearly, the party had stopped a long time ago, and so I got this bright idea that, well, if I go to treatment, maybe for like 90 days, like I can detox,
Right.
and then she's gonna miss me, and then my family's gonna be like rooting for me, and like everybody's gonna be happy, and then when I come back, like I can enjoy it again.
Right.
Because-
Then I can go back to successfully using drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, we call that the contemplation stage of change, or the planning stage of change.
Oh yeah. It wasn't like I was trying to really do anything other than take a break and go back to what I was doing before.
Sure.
Thinking that it would be, good again.
Right.
And so I went to treatment when I was 25. I went in 2007, and I got introduced to the 12-step program.
Sure.
I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't really know that there was like an actual program, or that like there was this God or higher power. I just thought that people kind of sat around and talked about their problems, and somehow that like
Yeah.
Right.
So it's really depressing when you think about it. Like
Yeah.
what you see in the movies and the TV shows and stuff. But I was like, whatever. And again, I wasn't going because I wanted to get sober. I was just trying to take a break and get
Sure.
everybody off
Just
my
pump,
back.
yeah, pump the
Well,
brakes.
we were talking
and-
earlier. We were talking about there's a window of opportunity
Yeah.
when somebody
Yeah.
comes into treatment.
Yeah.
Can you reflect back on your window of opportunity?
So that particular one, I guess it was just like a fleeting moment when I was just willing to like take a break, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like I was ready then. I thought I was ready, right? And again, my intentions going into treatment were not were not where I was when I came out, because I actually got introduced to the program and I actually got an understanding of what this program really is about and what it has to offer, and it was super attractive.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
So just because I always love to point out a 101 moment, like if anybody's out there watching, what would you say that the program is about? I mean, if you were to break it down to somebody off the street that goes, "Hey, dude, what is AA, or what is NA, or what is CA, or what is this all about?" What would you say? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, you need to understand, what an alcoholic and addict is, in my opinion, and what I thought an alcoholic was, or an addict, is not what the 12-step program kind of teaches, right? And so there's kind of a couple components. One is a physical component, which they describe as an allergy, which basically once you put a chemical in your body, that you can't control what's going to happen after that, right? It's just this overwhelming desire for more and more. And so, they have AA, which is strictly and primarily for alcoholics, and you have like CA, which is basically, cocaine and all other mind-altering substances. It took me a while to kind of accept that I was an alcoholic, because I thought in the beginning I was just a drug addict, but after, getting the information, being honest, and applying it to my experience, like, yeah, I'm both. I'm an addict and an alcoholic. And so I needed to identify with what were the underlying, I guess, qualifiers, right, for that. And it's basically, once I start, do I have, any control over when I stop or how much I do? And if I'm honest, the answer is fuck no.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like, and if there was that time, it was a really long time ago.
Yeah.
And then the second part is once I get stopped, right? Like, can I stay stopped indefinitely? Right? We're not talking about like a week or two, like, right? Like, some people.
We're talking forever.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
The dreaded word, forever.
Yeah, and that's that's a scary thing to think about, especially when when drugs and alcohol have been such a big part of your life for so long. I mean, at that time when I went to treatment, I was drinking and using like pretty much every day for about 10 years.
Well, I mean, those are basically your formative years, 16 through, or I mean, really heavy formative years, of who you're trying to figure out, and you figured out that you were a good addict.
Yeah,
I like that you mentioned the alcohol piece, because I work with a lot of people at work and outside of work. They say, "Dusty, I'm just a drug addict. I can still drink. I've never had a problem with alcohol before." Can you tell us a little bit about what brought you to the realization that you can't drink either?
Well, so when I went to treatment, excuse me, when I went to treatment, there was a couple different options I had. Okay, I could go to an AA meeting, I could go to a CA meeting, and I can go to an NA meeting. And so I checked them all out, right? NA, I did, by the name, I was like, oh, this is perfect for me. But then when I went in there, it was just kind of, I don't know, like the impression that I got, at least when I was in treatment, is a lot of the guys weren't taking it seriously, and they were just trying to, like, meet connects and shit from when they got out. I mean, if I'm being real, right? It was a state-funded facility, right? It wasn't like a high-end treatment center. It was one step up from county jail.
Yeah.
So then I went to AA, and then like I kind of got shunned by somebody in there because like I'm an addict. So I was like, okay,
Right.
so I was hoping that there was like a crystal meth anonymous or whatever.
And
but
there
I was
actually
like,
is.
well, I know there is now, but
Yeah.
and so I was like, okay, cocaine. I was like, I've done a lot of cocaine. I've
Sure.
smoked my share of crack. You know what I'm saying? I don't discriminate when it comes to drugs.
Right.
Equal opportunity.
So I went into CA, and the cool thing that I liked, so it was cocaine and all other mind-altering substances, which encompasses everything, right, including alcohol,
Sure.
including heroin, pills, all this stuff. But they work the steps out of the book, right? Like, so the program is the same, except they allow drug addicts in there, right? And
Right.
so, they brought a seminar up there. They broke down the whole thing, and I really understood like what the program was really about, which is basically connection with a higher power. It's about helping other people, and it's about living a good life. It's about being able to live life on life's terms sober, because when I'm sober, I'm miserable, right?
Yeah.
Like this, the voice in my head and all that negative self-talk, and just like dealing with my emotions and my thoughts, like it's insane.
It's reality.
Yeah, it's reality. And it's been a long time since I've experienced any type of reality. It's extremely uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah.
So when I got out from there, I guess the Dusty's thing, it wasn't about like, am I drinking every day or all the time? It's when I do drink I drink alcoholically? And the answer is yes, right? And one of the things, like going back and looking, like there was a couple fleeting moments where like I kind of had these like what the fuck moments, right? Where I'm sitting there and I'm trying, I'm getting high, and I know I'm as high as I can get, yet I still want more. And I'm just like, something's not right with that.
Right.
Or like if the goal is to get drunk, and you're drunk, like, why are you still drinking?
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had those moments that I really couldn't, didn't have a good explanation for.
It's always the famous line, "You're just trying to get there."
Right.
and then,
But you never
and then
get there.
and then there it went.
You feel like
Yeah.
you're getting closer with every one. Like, oh, just one more, and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
right there. And then you overshoot the mark.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you said.
For some reason, I just never dialed it in perfectly.
So when I went to treatment, I went for 90 days. I got a sponsor. I started doing the work, and then I got out. Right back to the real world.
Sure, but you went in intentions on just pumping the brakes, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And then after getting introduced to the message and what this program was really about, like I thought it was really attractive, and it was something that I really wanted. Like I really wanted to have, I really wanted to be happy, right? I really wanted to be sober. I wanted to be, a better person than I had been, right? But I was a sick person, right? So it wasn't really about being a better person or being a good person, right? Like I think we're all good people. It's just I was sick, and I needed to figure out like that I was sick, and what is the treatment for that, right? And so for me, I saw a lot of people who I related to through their experience, and believed that they had been where I had been, and then if I did what they did, then I could have what they could have, right? It's very simple, right?
Yeah.
Like back in the day when I was drinking, alcohol.
That's where they talk about the attraction instead of promotion.
I mean, I saw people hanging out and drinking out of a kegger, and that was attractive to me. And they were having a good time and dancing and laughing.
Right.
I was like, okay, I want that. Okay, well, drink what's in this cup. Oh, it tastes awful. Well,
Right.
we'll just keep drinking, and you'll feel some magic.
Yeah.
So that was attractive. So I did what they did, and I got what they got. Like, it's very simple, And so I got out. I'd made a beginning. I actually got a little bit farther than most get. A lot of people do the 1, 2, 3 shuffle. They balk at step 4, but I'd actually written out my 4th step, but hadn't actually gotten into my 5th step. And some stuff happened. I got an inheritance with a bunch of money, and then of course, I put 12-step program on the back burner. I'm feeling good, right? And I relapsed, right? And it was, they talk about, the obsession, which is the mental, thought, or the thought that precedes when you pick up, right? So what does that thought look like, right? It's like, why would you give yourself permission to do something that you know is going to burn you, right? Like, if I had the ability to look back at my consequences, right, and that would be enough to keep me from putting the first one in, then I wouldn't need a program. I could go to treatment and get out if sobriety was the answer, right? So that's one thing I learned, is that sobriety is not enough. Right, sobriety is not the answer, right? Because I need something that treats or replaces what the drugs and alcohol were doing for me, right? Which was allowing me to feel comfortable in my own skin and deal with the thoughts in my head and dealing with the constant emotions, right? I needed something that would help to alleviate that or manage it at a comfortable level as I'm navigating through life.
I like that you said that sobriety is not enough, because for me, sobriety is like a doorway to get to the recovery. If I don't have the sobriety, I can't get to the recovery.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, sobriety is definitely, the start. And a lot of times, in order for you to hear the message and really, kind of understand what's going on, like, you got to have that separation from the chemical. Kind of like when my buddy came to see me, and he's like, hey, man, I love you. I want to help you out. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm trying to get high in here, bro. Like,
Yeah,
come back
right.
later.
Yeah, right.
And,
This is not convenient.
Yeah.
I tried recovery drunk. It
Yeah,
didn't work.
exactly.
I tried
Right.
it.
So I relapsed, it was real quick, back to what I really wanted, like, I convinced myself that, I just wanted a little bit of weed, and the next thing, within a couple hours, I'm drunk, and then, of course, that was going to what I really want to get, and it was like I never missed a beat. It was like I was before I went to treatment, and it was like, all the shame and the guilt. I let my family down, I let myself down.
Right.
And I tried to come back in.
Well, so okay, so you had 90 days due to rehab, and then how long would you say you navigated sobriety before you relapsed?
About 3-4 months, maybe.
About 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And so after that, man, I tried to come back in, but it was just, there was a lot of guilt and shame, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah, now you're saying to reestablish with the 12 and 12, yeah. So I mean, I can see how, I mean, that's a big step to, admit, that you're human, that you're an addict, and that, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, because then you have all these people, and man.
Yeah, there's a lot of shame walking back into the room. Most of it is what we put in ourselves,
Absolutely.
That voice in our head that says, I'm not worth it anymore, and I don't deserve what they have.
Well, it was easier to stay out than to come back in at that point. That's where I was at, So this continued, like I said, I picked up and didn't miss a beat, and this continued for another 3.5 years. So 3.5 years, I was just, my only purpose was to basically get high and stay high, right? Wake up in the morning without $1 in your pocket and figure out, like, how I'm gonna.
Did you already go through all the inheritance?
Oh,
yes. Yeah.
Oh, that was
quick.
That was gone in like 90 days. Oh yeah. All right. So I'm sitting in my room with a girl that I was dating at the time, and we're getting high at my grandfather's house. And my mom comes in. This is in December of 2011, and so my mom comes in. She's freaking out. She's like, "I'm gonna tell you something. I don't want you to freak out." And, like, when someone says that, like, it's never,
It's not gonna be good.
So she told me that my sister Amber had been in an accident, and she was in ICU in Northridge Medical Center. And we were talking about how your life can kind of change in the blink of an eye, and it could be the last time that you see someone and not even know that. Sure. And so I was super close with Amber, right? Like, we were into, like, music, not rave music, but other music, tattoos and art, you know what I mean? She started kind of, like, mimicking, because I've been drawing my whole life, and she started mimicking my drawings.
Well, she looked up to you.
Yeah, she did. She did. And, like I said, we were close, and we had this bond, and man, drugs took me away from that for a long time. And So I go out to the hospital and I look at my sister. She was 20 years old and she's laying, you know, in the hospital bed on life support. And craziest thought came in my head, and that thought was, call your sponsor and watch the steps.
Right.
And I had been away from AA for 3.5 years. Hadn't been to a meeting, hadn't talked to my sponsor. And I could have just kicked that thought to the side. I could have been like, oh, we gotta be here with the family, be here with Amber.
Sure.
You know, we'll get to that. You know, let's figure this out first.
Right.
And I took action on that thought. You know, and I called him, came in, and he answered.
Yeah, I know. Hey, that's a good sponsor, man.
Yeah.
3.5 years later, and he would pick up for you, man. I mean, that's
Yeah,
cool.
solid guy, Matt. Love Matt. He's my first sponsor. And so yeah, I went to my first meeting back when she was, you know, still in the hospital. There was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of sleepless nights, and traveling back from Glendale to Northridge Medical Center.
Yeah. Now, so what had happened to your sister to get her?
Okay, so she had been out with her boyfriend the night before, and it was his birthday, and he worked at a bar. So they were celebrating his birthday, and, you know, he was, you know, drinking, and he got behind the wheel. It was her car, and they were about 2 blocks away from home. And I think he was trying to speed up to, you know, get through like a yellow light or a red light or something. Lost control, hit a parked car, hit a tree, and then hit another parked car. And you know, it was it was rough times.
Yeah.
It was super rough times. And so I got, like I said, I got into work. I went to a meeting, and I got with my sponsor. I got with Matt. I'm like, man, I'm ready, right? Like, there's no excuses. I'm ready to make this a priority. And I think it was, look, I knew what this program was really about. And
I love what you just said there, though, is how you make it a priority.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I
You
mean,
have
yeah.
to. You have to. Like, a lot of people are reluctant to do that because they're like, oh, well, if I make AA or C or whatever a priority, like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to support my kids? Or if I make this before, you know, I take care of my kids or my spouse or whatever. But it's like, you know, when I'm out there drinking and using, like, the drugs and alcohol are always the priority.
Right.
Like, and they always have been. And so, you know, if you can change that and make recovery a priority, which allows you to be present and actually show up as an employee or as a father or as a brother or whatever.
As a human.
Yeah, why would you not want to do that?
Right.
And so, you know, about 4 days after she'd been in the hospital, you know, they come to us and they, you know, get the family in the room and they're like, you know, she's brain dead. And there's nothing we can do. And man, it was, you know, it was devastating, man. It's still devastating to this day. I think about her every day still.
Yeah.
And you know, we waited. We got the autopsy report back. Found out that she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
She was pregnant, man. And man, I just, like I said, I dove in head first into recovery. I made it a priority. I didn't make excuses. And I made it my life. I made it my focus. You know? I chased it just as hard as I chased the drugs.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you really got to have that mentality.
And then, so with that effort and that mindset, then you, from then, like, as far as the timeline, have you been sober the entire time since you made that decision?
Yeah. So my sobriety date is December 18th, 2011.
I was trying not to put you on the spot.
Well,
but
so
yeah.
that's actually the same day that my sister passed away.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's a super important date for me for more than one reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. I mean, just, you know, I did the work, right?
Right.
I took suggestion. I accepted the help. I made it a priority, and I've kept at it.
Yeah.
Right.
And you humbled yourself, and you admitted that, you know, your life was unmanageable.
Yes, it was very.
Yeah.
It was very.
Yeah, we were talking about that before the show, and now it makes so much more sense, Jared.
Yeah, it's been it's I don't want to say it's been a rough road, but it's been a lot of work, you know, but it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
You know, what I like about the rooms is not only just relating to experiences that people have gone through that are similar, but when you hear some things that people have gone through and they were able to make it out, they were able to push through that fear, right, and actually and do this thing, like, it gives people hope, right? Like, if somebody had some crazy situation that went on, it's way worse than what I'm going through, and I'm like, oh, well, I can do this. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about giving people like that encouragement or whatever. Like everybody has to find motivation.
Right. Well,
Like,
you
where's
know,
that
I mean,
motivation come
I
from?
love that. I love that you say that because I mean, I've had people just hit me up and then they're like, you know, hey man, you've inspired me, you know, to give it a chance or whatever. And it's basically like, hey, if that dumbass can do it, so you know, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, so I'm nobody special, right? There is
Sure.
nothing special about me. The only thing that, the only reason why I have what I have today is because I do what I do, right? And I do it, I did it, and I'm doing it because not only does it work, but I saw it working in others, and I believe that it could work for me, right?
Right.
Like, if you, we were talking about this before the show, like, if you don't believe that it could work for you, like, you're not even going to take action on it, right? Like, you're not even going to do it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not really that it's hard. It's just that it's uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of self-searching, right? And a lot of stuff that you gotta, you know, it's taking an honest look at yourself, which most people are not willing to do. You know,
well, taking an honest look at yourself and then doing the work behind it to, you
Doing the
know,
work
Yeah.
every time. Let me ask you this. I know, you know, we know each other a little bit from outside of here, and every time I've had any interaction with you, it's always really positive. And I know, like me, you like to put a lot of positive vibes out in
yeah,
the world.
absolutely.
So on that note, what would you say to young Jared at 15, knowing what you know now, experiencing what you've experienced in recovery? What would you say to him if you had a chance?
Man, that is a really good question. To like deter me from going down that road, or just let him know what like today would look like.
Anything you want.
Well, I would say, I mean, honestly, like, so I used to hate the everything happens for a reason, because then I would go to, well, then why did my sister have to die, right? Like, I didn't really see any reason. And then I have a good friend of mine who's in recovery. He said, not everything happens for a reason, but everything can serve a purpose. And I like that, right?
I like that too.
I like that a lot. So I don't know if I would really change anything, because all of the stuff that I went through, it was pushing me towards, you know, where I am today, right? And my life is awesome today, man. Like,
Sure.
my life is great. It really is. Like, I'm so grateful for all of the people in my life and my relationships with people, and just where I'm at. Like, it's exactly where I'm supposed to be, right? And so I wouldn't change anything. But you know what I would say to my younger self is, you're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna go through some shit. There's gonna be some stuff that's gonna hurt really bad, and you know, you're gonna think that you're not gonna be able to get through that, but you will if you stay the course.
Right.
Like so, I'm incredibly grateful for my recovery and my sobriety. But I'm most grateful, you know, what this program has given me is the acceptance of the death of my sister.
Yeah.
I've found acceptance there.
Yeah, and I mean that's
huge.
That is huge. Yeah,
And that's what this
yeah. I
program has
mean
given me.
that's what, and I think you know, a lot of it is, you know, I always say it's a lot of it is designed. The step work is designed for trauma, you know, dealing with trauma, but then also, you know, a spiritual growth as well.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. I mean, so I do want to say that for me, like my involvement in recovery and what it looks like to me is like I have to be like how can I explain this? You know, like when I was out there, like I was going hard, right? Like chasing the drugs and alcohol. Like I wasn't trying to just get a little buzz. I wasn't trying to just do a little bit some of the time. Like it was never like that. And you know, some people can come in and they can maybe go to meetings and do some step work, and then you know they can maintain it on a certain level. There's enough levels, and I think it's important. Everybody needs to find like not only what works for them, but what's a good balance, right? And so for me, you know, I don't want a little bit of what like recovery has to offer, right? Like I want everything that recovery has to offer, and so that's why like I don't just go to meetings, right? Like I go to a good amount of meetings, right? Like I'm involved.
Right. Well, I was going to get to that. Is like you were talking to me about you said HNI, right?
Yeah, HNI is hospitals and institutions. I don't know if that's like a California thing or what, but you guys call them correctionals and something.
Let's call them rehab.
Okay.
But no,
Yeah.
basically, no. So I'm talking about you spreading the message,
Right, so-
on the inside.
Yeah, so carrying the message to treatment centers is something that I got involved in when I was 6 months sober, and I did that for about 5 years every week when I was in California before moving here. Then when I moved here, I think it took me about a year to get involved and find two that I was involved in, one out here in Princeton and one in Tioga. And I was doing that for a little over a year, and then the whole coronavirus thing happened, and they all shut down. And you know, I went to my first H&I in about a year and a half, just this last Wednesday. You know, I really missed that because those are the ones that need the most help. You know,
Sure.
those are the bottom.
And they're probably some of the more receptive folks
Yes.
to the message.
I love that you
Yeah.
do that because I was sitting in a detox facility for I forget what time I was in that detox. It was multiple times down in Corpus Christi, and some guys came in to Charlie's place to carry the message, and it was one of the first times that it actually resonated with me. There was a guy sitting across from me, he had 2 X's tattooed under his eyes, and he was living under a bridge not long before he came to carry the message. And for some reason, I connected with this guy and the other guys because nobody really gave a shit about me at that point. And these guys, these strangers, came in to carry the message to this guy. That's what I felt like. And I didn't feel like anybody cared about me. I didn't care about myself, and all of a sudden, they gave me a sense of value, and it shifted my perception that day of whether I was worth recovery or not.
I mean, you can't help everybody, but you can help somebody.
Sure.
And I feel like a lot of like if I'm going to a treatment center and carrying a message, and everybody's like, well, this guy didn't know what he's talking about, or whatever, right? Like if I can just maybe plant some seeds that maybe later on in their journey along their path, like
Right.
something clicks, and they're like, oh, I remember what that guy was saying.
Right. Yeah. Just like food for thought. Yeah.
Somebody helped me, right? So someone gave their time, right, which I feel is the most valuable thing that you can give to someone, right? Because you're never gonna get that back.
Sure.
You know, and someone gave their time to sit down with me and to help me, you know, look at myself, take a real look at myself, and take me down this path, right? And it changed my life, like absolutely. And you know, I want to pay that forward to as many people as I possibly can, right? Like I feel like, you know, 12-step program, Alcoholics Anonymous, like it has given my life purpose, right? Like to help people. You know, and that's a wonderful feeling.
Well, and I also want to point out the fact that you actually are, not only do you do that, but you also work for a sober living facility.
I
as
do,
well.
yes. Men's sober living here in Frisco. We have 2 houses. It's called Recovered Connections. So we got a Facebook page, and there's also a website, recoveredconnections.com. And I've been doing that in May was 2 years.
Right.
So it's been interesting, you know. Any way that I can be of service to alcoholics or addicts, like sign me up, man. That's why, like, I never turn down a request, and I try to just be involved in as much as possible, you know, because that's I feel like I show the way that I can show my gratitude the most is through my actions. Like I could sit here and tell you I'm grateful all I want, but like, what am I really doing, right? Like, am I really showing up like as much as possible, right? Like, especially when it's inconvenient, you know. And I think that's what, you know, that's why I have what I have today, because of what I do,
Right.
you know. And like I said, my life is awesome today, you know. Like, I'm super grateful, and I show that through my actions of trying to reach my hand out and help as many people as I possibly can.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it, and I think that's, you know, I don't know what step it is because I've never done the steps, but he's never done the steps. But I know it's one of them where you spread the message and, you know, just try to help people, and you know, that's what the show is all about, is sharing, you know, your experience, and you know, hopefully somebody can relate to that, and then see that, you know, that life is better, and there is a life beyond the addiction and the substance.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
What you were saying earlier about, you know, what I really We were sitting out in front of a Dharma meeting the other day saying the same thing. If I would have changed anything I did before, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. And I love where I'm at.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Right. Well, like I said, things happen for a reason. Real quick, I want to hit our lovely sponsor, which is summersky.us, and that is 888-857-8857. Once again, that is summersky.us, 888-857-8857. I knew I'd get it out there. I
got it, buddy.
I almost Mel Tillis it, dude. That's all, folks. But anyway, so also if you want the shirts, we've got them up there. You can go to DJ Kelly Reverb /shop, and all the shirts are up there. The Magic Pill one, the chair one, and the standard issue. The standard issue. Why are you not wearing your shirt?
It was dirty. I wore it yesterday.
Oh, there you go. Just making sure.
That was quick on the fly, right?
I like that. That was a good. Yeah, I think you've made up an excuse before. Hey, but real quick, before we go, I know we had kind of a topic that Dusty and I were discussing, and how in recovery it can be monotonous, and there's maybe a state of anhedonia that you might get to, which is where you can't really feel pleasure. Now, as far as speaking to the monotony, what would you say you do to break up to make your your recovery exciting?
Well, I feel like I mean, I'm just gonna make up some numbers here, right?
Sure.
So I would say that there's probably maybe let's say 80% of people that maybe come into the rooms that actually do the work and get recovered. That AA is enough.
Right.
And I would say that there's probably maybe 20%, maybe a little less, 15 to 20% that kind of need more, right? It's like they're searching for a deeper understanding of yourself, right? So for me, I love other spiritual concepts, right? I love reading, right? There's some really good spiritual, I guess you would call them gurus out there, like Eckhart Tolle and stuff like that. But I'm really about understanding, just so I can have the best experience, right? I feel like AA is my foundation, it's my structure, but I feel like it's not it doesn't have a monopoly
On your recovery.
Spiritual growth.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like, some people, they go to church and they read the Bible, other people do this, that. I feel like, I'm constantly seeking, more understing, right? Because it's just about, like I said, it's being the best version of you that you could possibly be, and striving to be there, or to get there. And really it's about, the process, kind of, right? It's not
And Dusty, I know you're chomping at the bit to speak on this.
Shout out to my buddy Brad C. for bringing up this question, because I think people in early recovery can find recovery a little monotonous. They got to get up every day, they got to stay sober, they got to go to meetings or whatever modality they choose.
Right.
And I think it's one of those things where you begin to build on a good foundation. So a foundation might be working the steps with a sponsor, right? Or a foundation might be attending recovery Dharma meetings, or weekly therapy, or all of the above, right? But you got to look for those areas that you're missing things, right? For me, it's always been community, right? So I try to be a part of as many communities as I can, and within each of those communities, there's always different things going on. So where there was a point in my recovery where life wasn't all that exciting, but through doing the work, and the work included building community, I was able to eliminate that monotony. Now I got more shit to do that I could possibly do.
Some people might even call that community a sangha.
A sangha, yeah. In recovery Dharma, we call our community sangha. And
Did I set that up for you? Good.
Yeah, like that. But also within recovery Dharma, we practice a lot of mindfulness, which is appreciation. appreciating things in the moment, right? The miracle in the moment, like right now, just being here with you guys and appreciating that. And if you're at work one day, you're going through the grind of work, you're like, this fucking sucks, and going, whoa, I have a job. I'm part of this work community. I'm earning a paycheck. I can pay my bills. And so to really appreciate and tap into that gratitude of the moment, right? That type of appreciation. So is the monotony a lack of action in your life, or a lack of awareness, or just a mindset you might need to work on? Or maybe it's all of the above, but it's definitely something to strive for.
Yeah, I really love you know, all the things that you're doing with like community events and the Soul Bar and the Phoenix and the Dharma and all that stuff, because it's so important, I think, to show people that like recovery and sobriety, right?
Yeah, it's not just people being boring.
It doesn't have to be boring. It can be a lot of fun. Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that I'm so grateful for is the relationships that I've made with people, like in genuine friendships, right? Which is something that I never had, right? Like I had friends, you know, that were there when I had the bag, or when I had a place for them that they could party. And when I got sober, like I didn't see any of them, right? And so, you know, I have people that call me all the time just to check up on me and genuinely care, not because they want something, but because they genuinely care about my well-being.
The secret society, dude, that exists that you don't realize.
People actually care.
You didn't realize that.
I had a guy call me yesterday, and he asked me a year or so, and he just goes, man, I just was thinking about you. I'm on a list of people that I want to stay connected with. How are you doing, man? I noticed you post this and did that. How are you doing? You know, just this genuine phone call, and my heart got big.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, when you first come in, you're kind of like, well, what's this?
You had a Grinch moment over there.
When a lot of people come in, they're kind of like, well, why is this person checking up on them here? Why are they buying me this book? Like, what do they want? You know, because it's like when we're used to people, you know, manipulating us or having, you know, another MO of they're trying to get something out of you. It's hard to believe that someone like really just
actually gives a rat.
Yeah. I went there and I got the text before the call. I was like, what? Has he got some dirt on him? Yeah.
The other amazing thing is you can go anywhere and have an extended family or meet friends. You know, I've been out here for a little over 4 years, and everybody that I know in Texas that I interact with and see and everything are all people that I've met through recovery. I don't have any friends or any family. I've never even been to Texas. Right. So you know, and so you can go anywhere and, you know, and find recovery and find friendship, you know, and people that genuinely care, and it's a good feeling, you know, to have that.
Right.
Yeah, we have that thing in common.
That's what I love about it is everybody, you know, we get each other. I mean, even though our stories are all a little bit different, we can all we all have that whole moment where you go, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? And there's something comforting about that, you know, there's a community of people that get it. So, you know, but other than that, let's, I guess we're coming up on the hour here, but any shouts out for you, Dusty? I know you have the lovely TCC to, you know, and your new position out there as
Substance Use Disorder Program Community Outreach Coordinator.
Wow.
Try saying that.
Is there an acronym for that?
We're going to come up with one.
There you go. I like it.
I'm excited to go out and do some really special things. I get to connect with the community, continue to build community.
And you work for TCC, which is a
Community
non-profit.
Center. It's a local MHMR, local
And
mental
they're
health
located in
authority.
Sherman,
Texas. Yeah, if you want more information, you can go to texomacc.org, or you can email me at dburrows@texomacc.org. We have a brilliant substance use disorder program with programs within the program, like medication-assisted treatment program, recovery support services program, outpatient program, a specialized women's program as well. Then we also have adult mental health. We have an adolescent program. We have programs for people coming out of incarceration. So a lot of stuff out there. So if you want any information, reach out to me. Check out the website. I'd love to give that to you.
Good resource, and you get to talk and hang out with Dusty Burrows too.
Yeah, that's always a perk.
Bonus. Anybody you want to shout out to? Okay.
Just put me on the spot. No, just check out. You know, if you're
Oh yeah, well we can shout out to the Fix.
okay.
All your homies at the Fix.
Shout out to the homies at the Fix. Shout
Yeah.
out to Prosper Group and Frisco Group.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows any men that are looking for sober living in Frisco, we have, like I said, we have 2 houses. We do have some beds open right now, so you can go to the website recoveryconnections.com.
Cool. Well,
And one more thing, I would also plug sobarbasics.com. So those of you who know me, I started a recovery community about 6 or 7 years ago now that it's built. We do events. We collaborate with Phoenix. We collaborate with Skate Straight. We just launched North EFW Recovery Dharma. So we do meetings on Wednesday and Friday. There's a
need to get
Facebook
to that.
group for that.
it's good, dude. It's good.
Yeah, shout out to Cassie and Stephanie. So a lot of really good stuff in the recovery community going on. So
We've got Myth America coming up next week. She'll be here as co-guest. Exactly.
Yeah, so a lot of great stuff. So get with us, come hang out. If you find your recovery is monotonous, come get with these guys.
Yeah.
We can change that. We can change that.
Exactly. And I want to, thank you guys for making time. I know, Dusty, you have nothing but now. But I appreciate you coming out here and filling in last minute for me.
Thanks for having me.
And then be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is just the URL thispinkcloud.com, and that will actually take you to the YouTube channel, and you can hit subscribe, and then you'll be a better person for it. Right? I think. I guess. And don't forget the shirts at djkellyreverb.com. And Brett, if you want to give me the cue out, just reach out to any of us if you need help, or if you're thinking about it, sober curious, reach out to us. And remember, there is no magic pill for sobriety, because if there was, we would all take it.
Yeah.
Take them all.